this is your host, Julia Nepini. I am a clinical and forensic social worker who owns a counseling practice and a consulting business. In this show, we discuss the challenges of being successful in business while maintaining your integrity and staying true to yourself. Join me while I interview other professionals and share insights from life and experience. Let's talk about RingRx, our latest sponsor. RingRx is a high-quality, HIPAA-compliant telephone, text, and fax communications platform. They provide seamless, cost-effective communications for behavioral therapists, medical practices, hospitals, and other healthcare providers. RingRx is designed for modern healthcare environments. They offer customizable features like a phone app, automated patient outreach, voicemail, after-hours call routing, and top-quality desk phones. Try RingRx for free today at ringrx.com. And if you sign up using the code CLIMB, you'll get 15% off your monthly bill forever. Conditions apply. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Compassionate Climb podcast. I made it my goal this year to record more solo episodes, and I am staying true to that. So here we go. I wanted to focus today on the comparison or the overlap between what is going on in my life personally and also how I see that influencing my business practices. And I also love the idea of all of you understanding me more as a person through this podcasting journey. And so even though the focus is very much on our entrepreneurial journeys, how we can be successful in those pursuits, how we can identify the right professionals to guide us on our journey, and how we can make sure that we are staying true to who we are, completely aligned with the person that we're meant to be, and maintaining integrity throughout that process. It is also really important for us to recognize that we are all human beings with different personalities, and we're going through different seasons of our lives. And that is going to influence our business practices. It is going to influence how we manage and lead if we are overseeing a team. It's also going to influence our motivation and how creative we're feeling, and whether or not we're taking action on the ideas that we have. It's also going to impact our desire to connect with other people and want to put in the energy that's needed in order to market authentically, find the right people, develop those relationships, nurture those relationships. So it has a wide reach. So I recently decided to find a trainer. Now, I use this term loosely because honestly, I had no idea what I was looking for when I started. I had an idea, but the journey has taken some twists and turns, and now I see this as much more of a broader person than what I originally thought. But with turning 40 this year, this past July, it was an eye-opener for me. I don't know about you all, but birthdays are definitely, especially when it's a new decade, an opportunity that I take to really reflect and think back not only on my year, but on the last 10 years and the choices that I've made, where I'm at in my life, the things that I'm grateful for. Am I where I thought I would be? Am I where I wanted to be? Are the actions that I'm taking and the choices that I'm making and the way that I'm conducting myself aligned with who I truly am? Am I experiencing joy and things that light me up and contribute to me being the absolute best version of myself? And I feel like 40, for whatever reason, was very different for me than other birthdays, probably because with the aging process, we can't help but consider that our time on this earth as we age can at any moment be less that we have ahead of us than we have behind us. And so I also feel that it was one of the first times that I really was able to reflect back and feel like the last 10 years of my life have been the most authentic. And I want that to continue to snowball and increase. So it was a very joyful birthday, but it was also a very sobering birthday as well. And with all that being said, I want to age as well as possible. We are given one body. And as much as I understand that it is really this vessel for us to live out our purpose, and I try to make this so much more about health and wellness and much less about physicality. But there's also a piece where I not only want to be functional and strong and healthy and promote longevity in my life, but I also want to feel good in my body. I want to be able to do all of the things that I'm going to do no matter what. Get up on stage and speak, or throw on a bikini and walk the bathing suit. Let's clarify. I think the bikini days are done. Throw on a bathing suit and walk the beach when I'm on a vacation with my family. Those things are still going to happen, but I've realized that my light is dimmer than I want it to be, and that I don't always feel externally what I actually feel internally. And I want to change that. So the reason why I feel like this is such a great parallel to business is because, similarly to why I would recommend that somebody who makes the decision to start a business or has already established their business and wants to expand and hire team members, or even for somebody who wants to diversify their income streams and use their original business as that launch pad to explore other things and really capitalize on their strengths and their skill set, having a guide, whether that's a consultant, whether that's a coach, maybe that can be a mentor, is invaluable. Because even though we may know the basics, and I would say nutritionally, I know the basics. I would say functionally and with regard to exercise and moving my body, I know the basics. I've known the basics for a while now, and it's so easy for so many other things to get in the way, for us to prioritize everything else in our lives but ourselves, for us to put things in our calendar. We have this meeting and we have this appointment. But I know for me, if I don't consciously block out time to work on my business, then everything else gets in the way. If I don't consciously put in there my therapy session, it's not going to happen. If I am not working with someone, and I know myself well enough at this point, that is going to be that guide and that accountability partner, and they're the one that's coming in with so much more than just basic knowledge. And I'm now at a point in my life where and previously this was very different. So if I was going to pursue something, I wanted to become the expert on it. And I feel like in a lot of ways, I've been fortunate enough to do that, right? So with starting my own business, I feel like through all of the information that I acquired through podcasts or through conversations with people that had done it before me, learning through my own trial and error, reading books, all of that helped me to feel confident enough to now be in a position as a business consultant where I can walk people through that process. Similarly with family law and going through my own divorce and mediation process and co-parenting, and then getting trained in divorce mediation and fulfilling all of the requirements to be a parenting coordinator, I then stepped into those roles with all of that training and personal experience. I wanted to become an expert. And that just continues in other areas of my life as well. Similarly, with this, I could very easily go down that road of teaching myself all of the things. And I made the decision that that's not an avenue I want to go down. I am perfectly fine identifying someone where this is their wheelhouse. They've put in that time, energy, and effort to become an expert. And I also wanted to identify somebody specifically that was a similar age to myself, that knew a lot of the unique things that women experience at this phase in our lives. I wanted them to be mindful and aware that in the same ways that I am, that what worked for me when I was in my 20s and even what worked for me when I was in my 30s are not necessarily the things that are going to work for me in my 40s. There are things to consider with regard to our hormones and our gut health and our functionality and the rapid decline of our muscle that I want to be factored into my program. And so initially, I thought what I would be looking for is a trainer. And my mentality of that was somebody who is going to be there alongside me as I'm exercising, guiding me to make sure that I'm doing the movements properly and to make sure that I'm lifting a weight that will help get me to where I want to be. And also there's that accountability and that kind of cheerleader that's in your corner rooting for you. And what I got was so different than that. So I kind of put it out into the world, and the person that I found, and I should probably ask what she identifies herself as, but it is so much more holistic than I ever would have envisioned. So we are covering everything from nutrition, macros, hydration, my sleep, all the way through to the workouts and how I'm moving my body, making sure that not only am I getting in, enough steps and movement, having a very sedentary job, but also weightlifting and training myself to maintain that muscle and even increase that muscle. So for those of you out there where this is your wheelhouse, I know this probably seems very basic, but for those of you who are in the mental health field or who have not gone down this road, and there's part of me that's almost discouraged that I am just now prioritizing this, but in all reality, it's never too late. And it is something that I need to acknowledge probably would not have been successful at another time in my life for a variety of reasons. So each decade or each season comes with its own responsibilities, priorities. Our time is filled with different things. And this is the first time in my life where I can honestly say there is not one justifiable excuse for me to not get to where I ultimately want to be. There was a time in my life where a trainer would not be something that I could afford. And could I have made some sacrifices in order to make it happen? Yes, but I obviously chose to not do that. There were also times in my life where it would have felt impossible to fit this in. When do I do it? How do I stay consistent with it? Where does it fit? And that's also not something that I can say any longer. So even though my plate is probably more full now than it's ever been, I make my own schedule. And I could very easily put in the time to do these things, and everything else fits in around it. And there's also the hourglass that I always feel is sifting right next to me, where there's no time better than the present. I'm not getting any younger. And I know that the decisions that I make right now are absolutely going to have a lasting impact and really shape how I age and move through the remainder of my life. So my intention today in having this be our focus was really because I want all of you out there who are getting caught up in everything that our society recognizes or encourages or promotes, especially in the United States, to achieve success, whatever that means to you, to be financially secure, to be accomplished, to achieve, to contribute to society in a positive way, to check all the boxes, to be not only exceptional at the work that you do, but also be exceptional in your relationships and as a parent. And don't forget to take care of yourself as well. It can feel very unrealistic. There are so many things that work against us. It can be very easy to let another day, week, month, year go by. And I'm coming to you from a place where all the things that people were saying to me are finally making sense. And I know that nobody else is going to do it for me. And if I don't take these steps, make myself a priority, plug myself into the calendar, make sure that I am fueling myself throughout the day, getting enough sleep, drinking enough water, moving my body, and not just moving my body, but doing what I need to do at this stage in my life that is going to get me where I want to be and help me achieve that health and that strength that I'm looking for. I decided to choose a guide and work alongside someone. And I'm grateful that I did. It's very early in the journey, but I'm also someone who, and I'm sure you probably have all picked up on this from listening to these episodes, am a rule follower through and through. I'm an Enneagram 1 wing 2. So the two can sometimes conflict where I am very others over self. That's the 2 in me. And I feel like that's led probably all of my life up until I turned 30. I would say 30 to 40 is when I was really prioritizing more of what was making me happy, but not necessarily prioritizing health and wellness. It was always there, and I definitely have not fallen off by any means, but I wasn't necessarily doing the things that were right for me and my own body, if that makes sense. So I was always physically active, and I was always trying to eat well and mindfully, but I wasn't hitting the checkpoints like I am now. And I wasn't as clear as I currently am on the things that were going to get me where I wanted to be. So for those of you out there that are listening, don't hesitate to prioritize finding a guide, somebody who knows a little bit more than you, somebody who is where you want to be, someone who has already demonstrated that they have the skills and the knowledge to help you enhance whatever that may be, whether it's your business, whether that's your wellness and your health, whether that's your parenting, whether that's your mental health. I mean, this is an overarching theme. And don't wait until you're 40 to identify that person that is going to help you get there. Some of us are really disciplined and we have willpower, or, we do have that knowledge. Not everybody requires someone to help you get there, but we're not meant to do life alone. And it can be a lot easier when you have the proper guide. So do what you need to do to identify what's going to work best for you, and don't let anything stand in your way. I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for some great interviews that we have coming up. I'm at a point now where in the podcasting journey, the first season into the second season was a lot of me identifying people in my own circles that I was so impressed with, that I had had really positive experiences with, either utilizing their services, spending time with them at an event like a retreat or a conference or a summit, or people that I had made connections with online that I really felt would be helpful and beneficial to all of you as our listeners. But as time has gone on, I would say the second half of season 2 and now into season 3, I'm much more selective, and I'm seeking out those people that I listen to, that I admire, that have really enhanced my own journey, and putting in that extra effort to either do a podcast swap or to foster those connections so that I can have those individuals come on the show. So stay tuned. We have some great guests coming up, and I'm going to continue to sprinkle in little individual episodes so that you can all get a little bit more of a sense of what's going on in my world, how I kind of blend what I'm learning and what's helping me with what's helping me in my business. And hopefully this gives you a little bit more of a window into my world and will help you to push a little bit more into whatever health and wellness and more joy looks like for you. So until next time. If you like what you're hearing, please rate and review. This will help others find us and benefit as well. The Compassionate Climb podcast represents the opinions of Julia Nepini and her guests. The information provided is intended for educational purposes only and should not be taken as legal advice. If that is what you are seeking, please consult an attorney.